far behind is my stream now? He's still out here. It's pretty good. anyone finds this. Hi, John. Am I not streaming? Yeah, I don't know. We're figuring out settings and figuring out how to connect with Discord. Podcaster, talking to people, maybe editing. Thanks, man. This is going to be a boring stream because I'm just researching things and trying to figure things out. Did not expect anyone to actually ever show up. I'm probably looking to start maybe within a week or so. We're trying to do some podcasts we're talking about with my partner, and we'll see. Nothing's set in stone because I'm also juggling projects. So, well, thanks for joining me. Have fun. Yeah. Um. Yeah, it could be two people talking. The delay on this is crazy. I appreciate it. As you can see, you're the only chat in here. That's funny. I feel like I haven't posted anything in years. I appreciate it. I mean, when I got started, I was just vlogging, and it was just to do something. And then I thought maybe I'll do other things, but making content is so hard. I think people have understood that the past 2 years with the pandemic and stuff. It's just hard. It's just hard to keep on top of it, and then you have to figure out what your niche is, all those kind of things. Vlogs are just fun. It's just a hobby. And every now and then I want to get back into it. I'm using this huge cinema camera right now for the stream, which is not ideal for vlogging. I need to get a new smaller camera. All my small vlogging kind of cameras are they're on the shelf. They've been archived. Yeah, this is the Shure MV7. It looks like the Shure 7B, MV7B. I can't remember exactly what it is. It's like the more expensive one. This is like half the price. It's got XLR and USB inputs. Probably not as good as the Shure that everyone uses, but for the price, um, and for the like the inputs you get and the quality, I'm real happy with it. Oh, good to note. That is something that I've had a trouble with this uh, audio interface specifically. If this was plugged in via USB to my computer, it's usually pretty clean. If I turn this down a little bit and stay close to the mic, it might go away with the XLR. It's a weird thing with the speakers also get interference from the monitor, and then this always gets interference from something, whether it's a Wi-Fi signal or something, and I've tried to diagnose it, can't figure it out. I've tried to use good cables on everything. I got new cables and stuff, and there's just no. If it's plugged in on USB, works absolutely perfectly. without any sort of distortion or whatever. But you know, well, you give me something to talk about. That's for sure. Even though the delay between chatting isn't quite as good one-sided, but I'm sure I can fill in the space, the gap there. But I appreciate it. Otherwise, I would just be sitting here looking at a screen and trying to figure things out and just letting the stream going. I need one of those. I need to start making graphics so I can just have like a "I'll be back" or something kind of thing, so I could just be at least paused if I'm gonna start streaming. Um, the thing is I know how to do this kind of stuff, but I run into limitations, as most people do with technology. And the biggest limitation is internet. I used to have Google Fiber, but I moved to LA and they don't have fiber internet anywhere, at least not in my area. And so I'm stuck with Spectrum, which gives me amazing download speeds, especially connected to Ethernet, but uploading, I'm like limited to 40 megabytes per second max, or megabits, whatever it is, and that is just terrible. So finding the right settings for a live stream is going to be crucial in figuring out how to make sure it's smooth and stuff. Obviously, I get a delay here, but I did a few tests and it was the quality was terrible at first, and it was lagging, and it's hard to figure those things out. It's like I would be fine if the internet was better, and I could figure out how to make these things work. But right now, I'm just testing out these things. I don't think I thought about gaming. I'm a console gamer. I I I I have a PS5 and I would love to game on that. That would require taking my streaming setup downstairs or something, which wouldn't necessarily be hard. Um, oh, my camera's about to shut off. That's weird because I have the thing plugged in. Might lose me for a second, but you should still be able to hear me. Let's do this. Um, I'm still here, I promise. I need to figure out the camera's plugged into DC input, but for some reason, I feel like the battery is still going. Wonder if it overheated because I've just been on for a while. Oh, we have another participant. I'm trying to figure out. Let me. You might be seeing OBS right now. I hope so, because that is just to give you something on screen while I diagnose camera issues. Answer your questions again. might be gaming, but that would require going downstairs and setting up my laptop and everything downstairs with the PS5. If I were to do that, I haven't tested any of that out. That would be something that I would maybe possibly test up. It is requiring me moving from the office, which is upstairs, all the way downstairs, but that would be fun. Hi, welcome to our second person in the chat. Theme song would be great, but I'm probably not going to do anything specific. I'd probably just find some licensed music or some music I can use on a stream from like MusicBed or something I'm already subscribed to. What else did I miss? Mostly I'm trying to figure out how to set up a stream so that I can also get people onto Discord, which is where I want to try and do some podcasting and create a little community there on Discord. Let me... let me see if I can put something in the chat. I'd have to plug into my... I have to go to YouTube on my phone to put an invite link to Discord. Feel free to join. You might not be interested, but at the very least, it'll be there. Invites. There is... copy that. Let's go in here. OBS doesn't allow me to... There you are. There's a link, and I just pasted it so you can see now how big the delay is. Let me diagnose these camera issues real quick. Hold on a second. Okay. Camera's up now. I should probably share it to people that I'm live, at least. I was going to do that earlier, but I was still diagnosing things, and I just kind of like lost it. Let me copy the link from my YouTube on my phone, and go to Instagram. My dogs are bored and wondering what the hell I'm doing. Let's create live on YouTube. Trying to... Don't worry, I'm coming back. Here's YouTube. There. I doubt anyone will join us here, but we're here. Did the audio ever get any better, by the way? 'Cause I know you mentioned this earlier, but when I tried testing the stream and looking at it on my phone, everything sounded fine to me. So I'm curious if adjusting the mic input helped in that way. camera's on, but I lost my monitor because the battery went out, which is fine though, because I'm still plugged into the computer. Great. Ah, interesting. I don't even need these right now. I'm not listening to anything. Yeah, I will definitely have to like watch this in a playback and see what's going on. John, where are you from, by the way? Are you from uh, Texas, where I was from? You in California? You in the states at all? You out of states? Probably is. Just some guy who wanted to join. Do I know you personally, um, or like have we met, or are you just internet friends? Got it. You know, it's kind of hard to tell when you got the John Doe name. Oh, great. Oh, you said you're in Florida. How's that? How's the? Where are you? My partner, her mother is in Fort Myers right now. She's in a, she's in a shelter right now, um, and she's really worried about her mother, uh, and so we've been paying attention to what's going on with the hurricane and stuff. It should be getting bad here soon. Uh, is that is that that's not dealing too much with it? You're kind of on the outskirts, right? Am I remembering Florida correctly? Yeah, I think Fort Myers. It wasn't supposed to hit. It was supposed to go farther north, and then it just kind of diverted right into them. All the stuff that we were seeing was what was going on in Fort Myers. Interested to see how that aftermath is going to be. Got it. Got it. Welcome from Pakistan as well, Kaani. Let's see, what projects have I been working on? To answer that, I just moved to LA a year ago to pursue my dreams, and right now mostly I've been working on this kids show. I've been a production assistant since about April on the show. They mostly do it for YouTube. It's called T Rex Ranch. If you have kids, you've heard of it probably. Uh, the company also does a kids show. They do mostly animation. It's there's a thing called Coco Melon, which I hear is just terrible. And then there's another show called Blippi that started on YouTube and is now run by this company. And they're out of the UK, but they've been doing more live action stuff. So I got on as a production assistant by answering a job call, and I've been with them ever since. And they've been allowing me to get into more camera roles. So I've been doing ACing, assistant camera, and DITing, which is basically um, transferring the footage to my computer and stuff like that, so to the drives, and dropping all the footage. So that's what I've mostly been doing while here in LA. And it was fun being on a kids show. Mostly that's the best place I've been able to network to, is just to meet those people. So hopefully that's mainly it. And then I've been editing some things. I'm actually editing a podcast for a sunglasses company called Gooder, and they're paying well for that, which is great for me. But I've been struggling trying to pick up jobs. So next month is going to be a good one because I'm pretty booked with both of those gigs. which will help me kind of catch up. And that's why I'm also considering, what do I do in my spare time? Can I create something? Which is why we're here. I'll turn up the mic. Yeah, sorry. Let's see. Let's see. Where do I start? So production assistant is the lowest. If you have a whole ladder on the production, they're the lowest on the ladder. They help with pretty much everything. They do the grunt work. They make the coffee. They pick up stuff and set up the camp and things like that. They do everything. You have a production assistant sometimes for every department as well. Um, and if you're in a specific department, then you can kind of help out in those needs. Like if our department has a PA, then you're obviously doing more art things, but you're just there to kind of go for things and do errands and stuff. Though it is a good track to kind of like learn for some people, especially out of college or something, to kind of go into, figure out what they want to do on film sets, and then they can figure out like what department would be best for them. But production assistants also go up to like you can become an office PA, and then you can learn to become an assistant for other people, and you can kind of go into production and producing in that sense, which is or maybe even assistant directing and then directing, which is something I would want to do to answer your other question. Directing and producing is something I'd like to get more into, though right now PAing is just because it's the easiest thing for me to do, and I can do it really well, and and I can make some money while doing it. And then while I create the connections, because having been in LA, I like it. The weather's nice. Doesn't quite yet feel like home, but I have made some friends. I've made some good connections, and it's great that everyone's, at least around here, like into the same things I'm into. In terms of movies and entertainment. So that's been something that I've just really enjoyed is feeling like I'm within the community where I belong, even though LA is kind of, it's vapid at times. People flake out all the time. But so far, not any more than I found when I was in Austin, Texas. Um, uh, Maybe a little bit more, but honestly, it's been good, but I'm still trying to find kind of where I belong, you know? All my streams are currently saved on YouTube. The I have to go delete some of the test ones that I just did you before. I maybe they're private. Maybe they put them on private automatically. I'll have to check. But right now I have it where it's saving it. 'Cause why not? I don't know what they're actually doing for credits. I haven't watched the show. You can probably find it on YouTube. T Rex Ranch. We're shooting season 4 right now. Um, oh yeah, I would like to save the streams moving forward. If just to answer that, Austin is not too different. Most people move from LA or California specifically to Austin because it feels so similar to them, as opposed to the rest of the Texas. So I'm told. I mean, I grew up in Texas, so yeah, it does feel different. My dog's chewing at his paw. Um, uh, but Austin is similar. I will say, to me, it feels different. Most people feel like it feels similar. Um, Mostly LA is just larger. There's so much more, I feel like, to do. You know, Austin's still kind of a quiet town in that sense, though it is growing dramatically and exponentially, which is why I left, because it got way too expensive. Even apparently, who posted this on it? Elon Musk's ex-wife Grimes or whatever. It's a weird comparison, but I just read an article about how she couldn't afford to live there if it wasn't for Elon Musk's help because she has his children, and um, if it's bad for her, imagine how bad it is for everyone else trying to live there. I couldn't live here forever, I don't think, but I also don't know where I would go. Um, I miss, honestly, I miss just like s- the places I used to go, that I knew, coffee shops and bars and things like that, where I knew where I could hang out with or chat. I'm still getting to know LA and where my local spots are. So I miss knowing the spots, you know. I might want to go back to Texas someday. Not, not so sure. There was a time where I wanted to get some land. I just couldn't make it happen money wise. But that would be cool. Have some land, you know, do the homestead thing. And Texas would be great. I don't have any particular reason. Mostly just because I was raised in Texas. Could do it anywhere. Um, my friend just moved to Colorado, and land is pretty good there too. I thought about doing that. And maybe I could live in LA for a while. At the very least, I wouldn't mind, in the film industry life, if things were actually to get successful, I could go back and forth between here and LA at any time, you know. And I wouldn't mind maybe having like a place to come to in LA, or even Atlanta if things are filming out there. So yeah, I think where I would live forever, or where I could live forever, is also dependent on like where me and my partner find ourselves, because I feel like both of us um, are searching for. She's from Pittsburgh, moved to Texas. Her mom's in Florida, as I mentioned, um, and then we're both trying to find our spot. LA is great. She loves New York, though. I don't think I could see myself living in New York for a long time either, but she loves the East Coast. So is that something that we could do? I don't know. We'd have to talk about it. By the way, we're from Colorado because my friend just moved to Colorado Springs. He loves it. Yes, and we're both in LA. She's at a dance thing. Um, Denver. I've only ever flown through Denver. I had to go to a wedding, and I think we flew into Denver, and then I was filming a wedding in Toledo, Colorado. Um, so beautiful over there, though. It was great. I love all the mountains and stuff. She hasn't had to deal with me recording my life so often. That was something that I was doing big, but before I met her, and I still kind of do it. I it, it's just, again, as I mentioned, vlogging has been the thing where I don't have the camera set up right now or the funds to get like a small camera. The FX30 just came out today, and that looks real nice in terms of like a low budget cinema camera that might work really well for like vlogging, and I'm tempted to look into that. Um, I'm sure she honestly would probably be fine with it, with me recording everything. She would find it weird. I think she loves everything I do, and she supports everything I do, which is a great person to have. Um, and I'm sure, like most people, it would get annoying at times. I find it annoying. I'm speaking so softly. I'm sorry if this is so quiet. I feel like I'm by myself and I'm talking and I'm like feeling like my I feel so weird about doing it or subconsciously. Um, I love that. I love doing the 1 second a day or the 3 second a day. I thought about doing things like that, but I get so into editing. Editing was my main thing, so I like the options, and like you said, finding a story or finding a follow through, or at least piecing it together. You know, but the 1 second a day thing or the 3 second a day, that's just looking back on those, even if no one else sees it. For me, looking back on those is fun. When I do the vlogging, there's a lot of vlogs that I find that are boring, um, and some of them that I'm sure a lot of people find boring. And then I'm just like, I love looking back on them anyway. So even just doing the 1 second a day, the three, you forget what you did when you look back on it like a year later. You're like, oh, what was I doing the past year? And you're like, oh yeah, I remember. That's so fun, so cool to do. Um, most of the music I used to browse like SoundCloud, and I would take music from independent artists that wouldn't get the copyright strike, but I'm subscribed to MusicBed, which is like a little subscription. I think I'm like grandfathered. It's $10 a month for me. I think that's like a grandfathered in thing because it's I think it's more expensive now. But yeah, I just use most of that music for the YouTube stuff, and we haven't done me and Shannon. We haven't done any dance videos. I have done dance videos with other dancers. We're we're talking about doing some dance videos though, so stay tuned for that. Maybe music bed. I wish I could. If you can see on my screen, I can see the chat. This is from the thing I'm using to stream. I can see the chat, but I can't type on it. I have to go to my phone. Musicbed.com. Great place. There's a lot of different places you can get music. Um, but that's where I get mine. I need to plug in my phone. Yeah, I know that. This I don't know that you can get any better. There's always going to be a delay, and I don't know if that's internet or if that's like my streaming settings. That's again why I'm testing this. I should do a private test as well. But obviously, like you're helping me out. But like for me to test the delay, I have to go to like my YouTube app. Um, just to see it. You should have seen it before too. It was just so bad. I'm sure some people who've been doing this for a while can get that delay down to like nothing. It also depends on like what there's like latency that I can choose when you go streaming just on YouTube. So there's like three levels. There's like internet, what streaming software you're using, and where you're like outputting from, and like that latency, and then there's like the YouTube specific latency, which I thought I had put on ultra low, and you can also add a delay. People sometimes want to add a delay, probably to like make your quality better, so that it can buffer or something, and then there's a delay for your streamers, or so that if something obviously I guess goes wrong, you can fix it. Who knows? I don't think he's a bot. He said he's from Pakistan. He's just a supporter. Oh yeah, you're right. Stream sniped. Obviously, I won't have to deal with that. Makes perfect sense. Yeah, no, I've dealt with that. I I would be interested in gaming. Are you interested in seeing The Last of Us? We've been watching. We've been playing that. I've played through all of them, but we just got the new remastered version on PS5. Apex Legends, probably. I'm not any good. I like those. I like the story games like Last of Us and Uncharted. I like the. I used to be good at first-person shooters. I might try Call of Duty when it comes out. I appreciate it. No one else. No one from my Instagram joined. Yeah, but otherwise, I want to know what other type of games I would play. Shooting games are fun. I'd like to get better at them. Begin console gamer. I would have to buy a second little thing because I'd have to plug in HDMI from my PlayStation. This would be weird because I'd have to. Because I play on a projector. I watch everything and I play everything on a projector downstairs. And so I would have to not only like project what I'm streaming, but then I'd have to find a way. I'd have to like split the signal from the PlayStation and have another device that goes to my computer as well as my camera. It's a whole setup, man. I used to teach YouTube to kids, and that's really hard to do because they want to know the main thing they want to know is how to edit. That's what I learned. It really should have just been teaching editing to kids because you can kind of do that for free on like anything and on your phone, right? But you had to know how to capture things, and a lot of them wanted to be gamers. A lot of them learned from watching streamers on Twitch and people doing clips of games and stuff. And it's so hard to be like, how do I teach these kids how to do this when it really is just a cost thing? Do like some of these parents do have the resources, but you can't teach them. Like, it's you want this to be like so accessible, but it's not. It's not accessible to do this. Um, the rifle rig thing. Yeah, I haven't made any changes since the last video I probably did. Um, but it still works. Again, my camera setup too large for that thing, so I don't use it much. But if I have a small camera, or if I'm renting something, or on a shoot that they're providing a small camera, works great. I've tried to get that in production or something or manufactured. It's just, I don't think it's ever gonna happen. People make products that are similar already that I've seen on Instagram ads, and it's just not worth it. Oh, I use it all the time. No, for real. I used it when I was using like the Sony A7S II, and I was kind of in Austin before I got the cinema camera. The cinema camera is just too big. You have to like, I need like a thing to help me, like a shoulder. Like it needs to actually be, like, it's hard to do handheld. But when I was using the smaller cameras, it worked. It worked a lot. It worked really well. It was much more versatile than you think it would be. Well, probably the same as other things, but it did work. Um, at least for my purposes, I loved using it. I think the camera itself is like this big. When it's built out, battery and stuff, it's like maybe this kind of form factor, you know. And it's not big compared to like you know film cameras they use in Hollywood and stuff, but it is if you're doing like an event, it can be heavy. I'd want to say it's maybe close to 10 pounds when it's built out, which you don't think is very heavy, but when you're carrying it around all day, uh, it it starts it starts weighing on your like forearms and stuff. Oh yeah, this is great. This is a lot of fun. I feel like the delay has to be longer than 5 seconds, but also I keep having to look back. This is a terrible angle for me because most people, the camera would be up here, obviously, and I'd be looking at the screen, and you would see me. But I put the camera over there because I wanted to see what different angles I can get, and the backdrop obviously looks better. And if I don't have to look at the chat, or if I could look at it on my phone, which I was planning on doing, then it'd be a lot easier to keep track of things. So mad about filming. So now, in terms of the rig, the rig itself, I thought was gonna be because you it looks like a rifle. When there's a camera on top of it, no one notices. I was at South by Southwest, huge festival. Everyone's in the streets in Austin, right? I don't remember what I was doing. I actually think I was working. I was filming something, and I used this rig, and I walked by like a group of cops who had barricaded one of the roads so that people can go to the bars or do whatever. And I heavily assumed that they would stop me or at least look at me and like think twice about what the heck I'm carrying. I mean, this is not that long ago. And if I have something that looks like a rifle, for sure that someone's going to stop me. They didn't. They didn't stop me at all. They didn't look at me. They saw the camera. They knew exactly what it was. I was surprised. Um, in terms of has anyone else ever gotten mad at me just filming in general? Uh, I don't. I can't think of anything, any time where that's happened. There's for sure got to be a time. There were, there was one time we were doing a feature film that my friend wrote. We were in a parking garage, but we had permission. We'd apparently gotten permission from someone who owned the garage, but I guess we didn't get it in writing and something, and the security guard still stopped us. That's not really a time when that that it's not the same thing, but like they did shut us down. There's times like that where that's happened. I can't remember a specific one, though it's happened a few times where we've just gotten shut down from filming our little short film or feature film or whatever. Yeah. Well, I try and do things as legit as possible. There are times when you're guerrilla filmmaking, you're doing the ask forgiveness, not permission thing. But obviously, when you know where you're going to be and what you're going to, if you're ever going to use prop guns too, or real guns, you shouldn't use real guns. But if you can't afford prop guns, anytime you're using anything that looks like a weapon on set, you need to get permission. You need to at least let the cops know, for like a film or whatever, that you're going to be out, if you're going to be out in public. That's something that I didn't learn personally. I already knew. So those are times where like you want to at least be mindful of things like that. So anytime you're filming in places or locations where you probably could get in trouble. We had cops shut us down, actually, a year ago, I think. A couple years ago, I was doing something. We were filming under a bridge, and I'd seen people under this thing all the time. But I guess people got tired of, the people who owned the land got tired of seeing people down there, so they called the cops on us. Someone saw us. They called the cops on us. Cops came out. We talked to them. I explained what was going on. We were like, great, we'll pack up. They couldn't have us there. That was fine. And then, but then they told us, hey, there's this location over here. It's an abandoned, like, barn. The cops, they stopped there. They're like, we stopped there and we do our reports or whatever over there. No one's going to bother you if you want to just film there. This is in Austin. I was like, great. Yeah, let's go check it out. We did that, and we filmed there instead. It was like down the street. They gave us options. But that was in Austin. LA, that probably wouldn't happen. You got to have permits. Everyone knows how it is in LA. Like, everyone in LA, like, they understand the film industry because the film industry is big, and they know, like, if you don't have a permit, they're not going to allow you to film there. As opposed to, like, Texas, where it doesn't happen that often, so people are like, yeah, come film here. That's something I miss. They can be expensive. They are... I don't know how expensive. At the very... Some things... It's hard to say because I haven't had to deal with it too much. Permits, I think, sometimes aren't even an expense. Sometimes it's just permission. Sometimes permits are just, especially if it's public property, something like that, you're just getting permission to film. But to get a permit, you have to prove certain things, like we have insurance. And that's a whole other rabbit hole that I don't normally want to deal with. So that's where the expense comes, is having insurance. And then also, if it's a private establishment, you got to rent the location, and that's something you do with the owner, but you still have to have a permit or something, depending on what's going on. Every place is different. Don't even know. I don't know. Connie, catch you later. And permits not hard to get. They're just, I mean, you just got to do it in advance. As long as you are used to filling out the paperwork and doing those kinds of things, I'd say it's pretty easy. First few times, probably hard. Once you know what goes into them, whatever. When I say we got permission before for things, that's me talking to private establishments. Usually if it's on private stuff, they might ask for a permit, you might not. And in most places, you can get away with it. Some people, they want you to get a permit. If you're recording on public property or whatever, it depends on the city. Austin, I've had cops stop me from filming before or talk to me about it. They're like, you can film as long as it's on, like, it's public. So on the street, sidewalk, you're fine. If you're in front of a private establishment, they won't let you do it. You got to get permission. Not the same as a permit. It's just up to the establishment. Everything's so different. I don't know. You go through the film commission. Every city usually has like a little film commission, or just the city in general. Um, or like county, whatever. But I think Austin had a film commission. LA obviously has a film commission. I would have to talk to them and figure out what the process is to get permits. Um, Again, I believe a permit. I feel like I should know more about this. I don't produce much, and when I am producing, it's like independent guerrilla filmmaking. I haven't had to deal with the permits, but it's basically just a contract. A permit's just a contract. So the same thing as anything else. You can kind of draw it up between you and the establishment, or you can go through the film commission. They can get you a permit, I believe, to film in certain locations. Um, and sometimes, like say, in a residential street, that means putting up signs or flyers onto doors and mailboxes to say like we're going to be filming here on this date, so you got to have a certain amount of time. They have to know that. Doesn't mean you need permission to film on the street from them. It just means you have to let them know in a certain amount of time for you to be able to get the permit. So you can't do it last minute, that's for sure. It is boring. It's interesting to the right people. What are we doing, John? What are we doing here? Would you say the stream is a success? Let's do something. I'm gonna change the camera. I'm gonna I'm gonna move the camera a little bit. I want to see how things look, and you tell me what you like better, because I might want to move it over here. I don't think I'm gonna like it. Obviously, if I was talking to the camera or whatever, I would just be chatting here. I wouldn't have to look at this unless I had something on the screen that I was doing, like editing or something. Oh, hi, Shannon. That's my partner. She's supposed to be rehearsing. Let's move the camera. I think I have to unplug it for a second. I need. Let's create a graphic. Let's 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 put up a little screen that says "Be right back" while I move the camera. This will be easy. I'm just gonna. I'm not even gonna. I was gonna. You know what? I'm not even gonna do this. Go here. Go to my docs. Hope you're having fun with this. My computer's really slow. I will say when you're streaming, just I need a new computer if I'm gonna really do this seriously. But camera, just the camera, streaming, easy. Doing anything else on the computer, hopefully it's not lagging for you. It probably is. Bear with me, you're gonna be behind just a little bit. I'm not looking at the chat, so if you're saying anything, you probably left. Everyone's gone now, I believe. There. Hold on. Remove this. There's that stupid. Okay, guys, I'm gonna switch cameras real quick. Didn't mute my mic, so I'm still around. What's going on? Yep, we survived COVID. And she's gone, but I'm back. So we switched camera angles. I don't want I want this to be. Oh no. I like this angle. It's more frontal. I like the other angle better, to be honest. This is just I guess more in front of the computer. Now we're lagging a bit, at least on my end. I had too many things going on. That might make it better. It didn't know what to do. Now we're better on my end. I do like this angle. Mostly the reason for this angle is, like, you know, obviously my computer's here. I'm not turning my head all the way around to look at the chat. So now I have like it, and now I just need to figure out, get a screen more in front of me if I were to do this. Neither angle is bad. I like the other way better in terms of, like, the setup and seeing the things, though that's not typical of a streamer. The light, I have like this what they call a space light. I wonder if I can show you. Hold on. Who's that? Lordy? That was a space light. I do have lights. It's a big diffusion thing. If you look up space light, it's from Aperture. You can see a photo of it, but at the very least, that's what that is. Kind of just cast light all around. What you saw was the back end, which was a little cover, which kept the light off the backdrop and off the screens. So when we were at the other angle, as you can see, it's darker. It's brighter on this side, and it's a little darker on this side, but yeah. Lordy, welcome. Where are you from? Where are you coming from? You see me on the YouTubes before? My focus is different. Let me fix that. That's better. Washington. Guys, I didn't know I had so many fans. All 2 of you. That's not a joke. That's great. I love it. What kind of content do you want to see? That's the question. I think my most popular video is like me talking about this camera, the Kinfinity. That still gets, there's not many videos about Kinfinity, so that still gets views. A lot. You know, like, I'm surprised when I get a new view or a new like on that. Not really surprised because again, there's not that many videos about the Kinfinity, so it makes sense. But making content about cameras was never really the thing. Unless people want to send me cameras, no one's going to do that. I have, what, 200 subscribers? It's going to take a while before I get to that. But, you know, my thing was vlogs. I like vlogs. Yeah, the camera and the Steadicam. That makes sense. Maybe I should do more. That camera video was way too long for what it needed to be. But I would like to do streaming for editing, but as you can see, my computer probably wouldn't be handle it. And wouldn't be. I'm on the MacBook, and that's even the Pro. It's not gonna be It's not gonna be able to handle editing and streaming. Though I have done it on this YouTube channel. It seemed to work out fine, but it was really slow. You're right. I should find. I just gotta figure out what the topics are. I thought about talking about the FX30. I haven't used it. I've just been watching videos about it all day. And so it would be a interesting subject that, I thought about. Do I come in? Do I talk about topics? Do I talk about what's going on? Obviously, when podcasting happens, you'll see it. I'm not sure if it's going to go on this YouTube channel or my production company YouTube channel. Depends on the podcast because we're talking about multiple ones. Video gaming would be fun. That's because you're right. Because having something to do, which is why I thought editing would be the fun thing to do. Maybe I'm putting together a puzzle while talking about something. Maybe I'll just get on the puzzle. I don't like puzzles. I don't know what I'm talking about. There's a niche there. If I can get a system set up, I think editing would be great. I think it's just having topics to talk about. Games in general. The gamification of things. That's why Twitch is so popular. When people think of streamers, they think of Twitch, and then they think of games. Because people are streaming while gaming. I'm not a gamer. I like gaming, casual gaming. But does that have to be the identity? Maybe I'm just watching YouTube videos. Maybe we're just reacting to things. Reacting is a fun. Maybe we'll watch a video and then we talk about it. Cleaning of cameras. Good, except the only camera I use or have is this one. Ow. Oh, I hit my toe. My dogs. I have both dogs in here. My tiny dogs look at me. You want to meet Madigan? Hi. Madigan. Yeah. You look at the camera. This is my partner Shannon's dog. She lives with us. And she's real annoyed that I'm just sitting here talking to no one. I mean, obviously I'm talking to you guys. She doesn't know that. She thinks I'm just talking. And just existing, and she's real annoyed, and she looks worried. Now she's just gonna sit in my lap. She's like half corgi and something. She's got like a mix of things: Chihuahua, corgi, and some other things. But I'm not exactly sure. That's Shannon's domain. Did we lose Lordy? Guys, the problem with we did lose Lordy. The problem with the streaming thing when you have very few followers is that you know everyone who's in the chat. That's a lot of pressure for you, John. You are like, this is pressure for the people who are in the chat. This is why I don't join people's lives if I'm like the only one in there. I feel like you have more bravery just being in the chat than I do streaming to a single person. Because you kind of have an obligation to like talk or say something or be like, you don't want to step in and then like, oh, this is boring, and then like step out, because then you feel like a jerk. It's hard, man. I wouldn't do it. Makes sense. Madigan's done great with the move, by the way. The animals, we moved 2 dogs, and I own 2 cats. I don't let the cats in the office because they'll get hair everywhere. I try and keep them out. And they'll like step around and jump on the keyboard and stuff. And we put them all in my Jeep, and they were in the back, and I towed a trailer so that we could leave the Jeep open just for the animals, and they weren't stuffed with everything. So we moved from Texas. We drove from Texas to California, and they were stressed pretty much the entire time. They were calm, but you could feel that they were stressed about it. Yes, a Jeep Wrangler, the 4-door, 2008. That was the first year the 4-door came out. I paid it off within a year and a half because I went to Iraq. Because at the time I was in the Navy, and I got all that Iraq money, so that was fun to be able to pay off my Jeep within a year and a half. I've never had to really deal with the car payment, and now my Jeep is old, and I probably am going to need to figure out a new car soon, maybe. Hopefully not too soon, and I'm not looking forward to. I might lease instead of doing a car payment. That, for some reason, that sounds what you said about everyone in Colorado driving a Subaru and everyone in Florida driving a Jeep. I believe that. That sounds correct. I almost caused a riot on an aircraft carrier. That's hyperbole, but almost true. So there was like this talent show that we were doing on the Carl Vinson, which is an aircraft carrier. And I don't even remember why they were doing a talent show. We were only out for like a couple of months, and this talent show was happening, and people were mostly singing songs and stuff, and you had like 2 or 3 minutes to do something, you know. And then I wanted, for some reason, to do, at the time, like, I'm 20 at this point. I'm 35 now. Around that time, I was like 20, 21, and I wanted to do like a monologue that I'd written, and it was like 10 or 15 minutes long. It was not going to be for this competition, for this talent show that they wanted to do. And so I asked like the judges when I auditioned. I was like, can I just do this thing? And I had half of it written. I didn't even perform. I talked to the XO for my audition. I said, can I do this? And I showed him the script. He said, "Yeah, you can do this. You won't be in the competition. We'll do you halfway in between." I was like, "That's great. That's what I want to do." And um, it was about life in the Navy. I was gonna be a person. It was like a one man show. I was gonna be a person going through the different ranks of the enlisted military. So I started off with like E1, eager to get in, whatever. This is awesome. I'm gonna be great. E2. The ranks go from E1, E2, E3, all the way to like E9 to E10. That's how it works. They would have known that. I do my E1 one, and then I turn around, I turn back around, I say E2, boot camp sucks. Got a lot of laughter, and I was going to go through it. I was going to chart this story of this guy. He's going to get jaded, but he's going to come through it at the end, But I got like to E3, and I started talking about the food sucks. I'm on the aircraft carrier. Everyone sucks. That kind of thing. And like the chefs, they were like booing me. Like in jest, they were having fun, but they were booing me. Everyone was laughing. They were having fun. And they understood what I was talking about. But when the boos started and people were kind of getting rowdy, they cut off my microphone. I didn't even get very far. They cut off my microphone and they shooed me off stage because they were afraid, quote, that I was going to cause a riot, that people were going to riot on the aircraft carrier. And that is my favorite story to tell, because I feel like had they not cut me off, people would have hated it. Because I would have gotten dark and serious. It wouldn't have been funny anymore. Maybe people would have gotten it. I had a chief that wanted me to do it for the Chiefs mess. Finish it. Never happened, and I'm kind of glad. Because I don't think it was even that good. But I think it's so funny that, like, they had to cut me off because people were getting so riled up about it. Most people were cool with it. Again, no, there was not really a riot going to happen. They were just something. The people just got scared. The people in charge. People definitely get seasick. Aircraft carriers are fun, though. Honestly, you don't float around that much on it. I mean, if you got some big waves, that thing will move, but you're not going to feel it most of the time. If you're in a storm, it's a different story. I do not have it. I don't have the thing. I lost the writing, and I have no record of it. All I have is my memory, which is a shame because I kept everything. But that was like just written on like notebook paper in some spiral, and I can't find it. So it definitely got lost. But it is funny. I think people do. I think I recall people remembering me because that was around the time. Because that was my last little station, was that aircraft carrier. It was like my last 6 months in, and I did this thing, and then like a month or two later, I was transitioning out of the military. And when you're transitioning out, you have to go through different departments and get a piece of paper signed. It's a really weird thing, but it's making sure you're out of every system and you're checked off the list of everything that you need to be done, so that there's nothing lingering there that doesn't need to be there. You're accounted for everywhere. And I would go around to people like the medics and stuff, and they'd be like, you were the guy that almost caused that riot. I was like, yep, that was me. And that was basically it. So people remembered it, but from what I recall, it was a good time. I keep almost everything, so I'm surprised I didn't keep that. And if I did, it's in a notebook that just, I don't know which one. I'm sure I could find it. if only people were recording that. This was so what? This was in 2009. I mean, the iPhone had just gotten released like a couple of years before, so people definitely had smartphones, but it wasn't as big, right? And even then, like, cameras still were hard to. I had a camcorder. I didn't have them record it. Why didn't I record it myself? Back then, I wasn't recording things like I did. Um, yeah, I feel like I've always been kind of a creative person. I started creative journey by like drawing, like in 6th grade. I was I was trying to draw, but mostly I was just like copying things. Like I would get a photo, and I would kind of like redraw it, not trace it, but I would like get like an anime character or something, and I'd print it out, and then I'd try and draw it. You know, so I wasn't taking any like lessons or anything. That's just what I was doing. And then I was also singing. I was in choir. That led to performing in choir in high school and stuff, which led to me wanting to be an actor, which led to me wanting to do film. But there's always some sort of creative thing. That's all. I always thought I would go to a school for the arts or something. The Arts Institute. Not that I couldn't have done it, but the Arts Institute, I don't think they accepted the GI Bill. That's not true. I don't think I tried. I don't think I tried to do the art. I went to community college and I dropped out because I didn't need a degree for acting. And I don't draw much anymore. I have a tablet screen I want to do digital art on. That'll definitely come back. Maybe that's what I should be doing on these streams. But I'm not an artist, so that's not in the sense that that wouldn't be the reason to come to my stream, because it's like I don't want to be an artist, or I don't want a career in art. But I like drawing, so I thought maybe that. So that's I do have it every now and then. I draw, but I don't really. I haven't done it in like a couple of years, honestly. But I got into film because I'd been video editing since I was like 17 when I got a camera, but I wasn't for like film purposes, and that was back before like YouTube was invented when I graduated high school, which is 2005. Which you understand, you graduated. I saw your age. You graduated the year before me, or would have, or around the same year, and YouTube was invented then. So like when I was video editing, that was like Windows Media Maker or whatever, and it was still like everything was on like tape, and it wasn't the same as nowadays where it's so prevalent and everyone has to learn how to video edit and stuff. And so, and now filmmaking is kind of more ingrained into people because you have to learn filmmaking techniques. I didn't. I was just making videos. That's it. I didn't consider it film. But I was doing that since I was 17, and I liked doing that, but I wasn't following any path. I was in a small town in Texas. I didn't think about film as something I could do. I didn't think about like becoming an actor wasn't even something that I wanted to do until I was like early 20s, because I missed performing. I missed being on stage, which was just a thing I did in high school in choir, and that wasn't even something that I wasn't trying to pursue, but I missed it. And so coming to Austin, going to college, learning more about film, and having been a movie fan, I was a fan of movies, and I was learning more and more about film after high school. When I got started, video editing, wasn't into film. Got more into film and learning how films are made, but I was just following actors, and I was following good films. I didn't think, again, in a filmmaking mindset, but I learned more and more about it as I started pursuing acting. And so around 2010, 2011 is when I started getting into talking to friends about film and making film. and the rest is history. The more like I learned and learned and learned, and I used skills that I had in editing, and then I learned how to be a cinematographer and stuff, and now I want to direct and produce and write. I've always wanted to write things. Writing is the thing that like is really like one of the first passions. I was writing on forums when I was in middle school and high school. So I love telling stories, you know. So that I realize now is I love movies. So, but before getting all that kind of knowledge together, you know, that was and figuring out what the path was. That took a while. I'm an arrogant person on my videos when I talk. Um, I am thinking about a novel and screenplays. I have like 20 screenplays that I've like started writing. They're not finished. Almost everything is like a screenplay idea for sure. There's definitely going to be a screenplay in the future. Novel, there's a nonfiction novel that I want to write about emerging adulthood. Don't know what I'm going to do with that. More like a memoir kind of thing, maybe, because I have like an idea for it. And then there's another novel, which is a fantasy novel that I feel like I've always maybe been going to write. And that's kind of like always in the back of my mind, because I feel like maybe I'll get around to writing it when I'm 60. Not that I couldn't do it now, but mostly I'm just in no rush. Um, let's see, what's a good idea of something? I I mean, I have a few ideas. I want to do it. I kind of turned it into a TV show. It started as a short film. Maybe it was going to be a feature film, but might now be a TV show. I'm thinking about it. Not so sure. But point is, I have an idea for like a zombie flick. This was before I even played The Last of Us. This has been gestating for like years, and I keep changing it based on like the current landscape because I need to figure out, are zombies old or zombies new? I'm sorry, you told me the fantasy idea, but I'm already on the zombie one. The but I wanted to make a zombie movie where zombie movies exist. Do you know what I'm saying? Because in every zombie film, people are like confused about everything. But like in pop culture, like we in the real world, we live in a world where zombie movies and zombie things exist. So I thought it would be like really cool to have one where like the characters actually are aware of like the pop culture phenomenon. So when zombies, it's like it's not even like a comedy or anything, but I wanted it to be meta in that sense. So when the zombies happen, quote unquote, this group of friends that would be stuck in a house together at the beginning of the film, they would be talking about what to do. What would you do? Because we always talk about it when you're watching the shows and you're watching the movies. You're like, what would you do if a zombie apocalypse happened? So they would try and do that. They would try and do the different things, and knowing that it's zombies, they think would help them, but it doesn't. That's the whole point. It doesn't help you to know that it's zombies. You wouldn't do. They obviously wouldn't do the stupid things that you would always do in zombie movies, like, well, what, are you still in there, kind of thing, you know? Or would they? That's the thing. That's the thing. Because you would question, is this like it is in the movies, or is it not? So yeah, the story is bare bones. That's basically it. I have like a couple of pages of like them. They start in like they're doing a movie night. They're doing like a double feature as like Page Master and something. I because I'm fascinated with movies where like you go through like a portal, right? Like the Magical Kingdom or Page Master or even to an extent like the Ninja Turtles movie. What's the third one where they go to like the samurai? They go back in time. Well, anyway, you go through like the portal and it's like a different world, right? And the whole point is like doing the quest, helping save the world, that world, and then coming back to the real world. Fascinating. Anyway, I don't know why. I there's a reason that I feel like I need to make that part of like the thematic element of the zombie film in itself, but that's neither here nor there. The point is they were watching these films. Coraline, I love Leica, and I have not seen Coraline, but I've seen all the other movies from them. All amazing. I love Leica. Anyway, point is, I'm going to see it. Don't worry. Yeah, never ending story. I, there's something to be said. I love those kind of movies. I want to make a movie like that someday. If not, be a thematic element to this zombie film, because the point is like in most zombie things, in most post-apocalyptic whatever kind of things, there's some people do this thing where they try and like get back to the way things were. But unlike those films, once it's changed, there's a timeline split. You can't go back. You can't go back to the way things were. You know, The Hobbit. You talk about fantasy. The Hobbit explores this because it's called, you know, they talk about there and back again. You know, that's what in the movies. That's what Bilbo calls his book, right? There and back again. And the whole thing about that with Bilbo and with Frodo is like they go on this adventure and they come back and it's not the same. You know? Now the point is they do go back, but in those other films, like and when they go back, it's like and what I'm talking about is zombie films. There's always these people. You feel like this is just a journey that they'll come back from. That life will go back to normal. We just have to survive this thing or do this thing, and we can get back to like normalcy. But that doesn't. It's not true in a real. If there was a real apocalypse, there's no. You don't go back to normal. And I think that's what the whole thing is supposed to be about. You know, this group of friends, they're watching these movies. Something happens, obviously. Zombie apocalypse happens. They're stuck in the film. They have to get out of this house, and then they have to journey into this new world with just these people, with no communication with their friends or family. They don't know what's going on. You have to figure it out. Have you been watching The Rings of Power? Because I love it. We watched the most recent episode, and in it, no spoilers, but in it, like there's a song happens, they're singing, and I got choked up. I was like, man, this just feels good. I don't know. I hate Amazon as a company. But I tell you what, I love that they are the creators. They gave these people money, and they are embracing this show very, very well. They are embracing you. If you love Lord of the Rings and those movies, I feel like you'll like this. I think it's a great show. There's some people that probably don't like it, and there's reasons I'm sure not to like it. I have some friends that don't like it, but I'm loving it. I'm just enjoying everything about it. You just watched Lord of the Rings extended edition. I've watched those so many. That's one reason I got into film. Because I have the DVDs. I might have the Blu-rays of it, of the extended editions. But I don't just watch the movies. Like back when I was like just consuming film before I got into making stuff. It's things like the Lord of the Rings or maybe Star Wars. I would I would I would love watching all the behind the scenes content. And Lord of the Rings specifically, that was one of those things that was I just loved seeing them, how they made it. Now, granted, the way they make that is different than they make any other films. That was specifically done, but I still loved what I was so fascinated with it. And nowadays it's the same thing. People get fascinated with the making of stuff, which is why on YouTube the videos about cameras or gear and how to make things or whatever, and like the behind the scenes. The whole reason for my vlog was supposed to be behind the scenes content. It was supposed to bring people behind the scenes of the films that I was making. I just don't make that many films. And you know, when you're on certain sets, you can only post so much, you know. I couldn't be posting about I can't just have my camera going all the time on most shows or whatever, unless I'm famous or successful. Then you can do whatever the heck you want, right? You still have to wait for the movie to come out before you can post anything. But that was the whole point of the vlog. And I like doing those things. The special features, they've gotten worse. Like I think about some of the stuff that like they do for Game of Thrones now, like the Game of Thrones, they're doing the inside the episode thing after the show now, after every episode. And those things are okay. It's great to get a little bit insight to those things. But then there's like special features, because you can't find special features anymore. I mean, I like to buy movies physically, but I don't even do that myself as much. And nowadays, all the special features you see are like, they're like featurettes that are meant to like market the film. So it's just people talking about, like, they're just hyping up everything, you know? They're just talking about like how much fun it was and all this. They say only good things about it. The actors are only saying good things, you know? Because they're doing these interviews and it's meant to be marketing material. And yeah, the special that sucks. I do miss the in-depth special features that were just like showing everything, like how tough it was to make. I love seeing the struggle. And like those things were got like I don't know. That's what I liked, you know. You get a little bit of like the fascinating, just how they made something work, you know, which is just technically fascinating, things like that. And then you just get like how hard it was to make, which, you know, gives you a new appreciation for things. I would love to see how they made Mad Max Fury Road. That kind of stuff. So fascinating. I'm sure there's good special features out there for good films, but nowadays, yeah, it's just when it just becomes like a 3 to 5 minute, like, here's a little bit about how much fun it was to make and all this. I don't know. Everything that like Marvel puts out, it's just hype. It's just hype now. Yeah, back in the day, the commentaries were fun. Um, I watch commentaries sometimes for directors that I really like. Ryan Johnson is my favorite director. He did Looper, Brick, Brothers Bloom, Knives Out. Um, the Brothers Bloom is probably my favorite movie of his, if not one of my favorite movies. It's a con artist film. And obviously I would watch. He used to like record specifically a commentary track by himself while the movie was in theaters. So you could like go in, and back then it was like when you had an iPod or like your phone, I guess, and you could go in and he would tell you when something was happening, and you could kind of sync up with his commentary as the movie starts, and you could listen to him talk. Obviously, you wouldn't do that the first time, but there's some movies where like if you wanted to watch this movie again, go back and watch it while you're listening to him. I like that he did that. Um, he's the same person that did The Last Jedi, which is became the most controversial Star Wars film. I don't know. I think The Rise of Skywalker is probably more controversial, but I did like The Last Jedi. I know not a lot of people did, but I liked it. And um, that so that's something else that he's done. That's probably the most known thing that he's done as a director, ruining the franchise, as they say. Um, I, anyway, his commentaries, I love listening to, and then like Justin Lin, who did a lot of the Fast and Furious movies, which is like a guilty, not guilty pleasure of mine. Those are fascinating because when he did those, when he brought in like The Rock into that franchise, and they did Fast Five, um, he would talk about in his commentary how he's like he would fight the producers because they were going really big for this film. Fast Five is a great action film. He's like, hey, I want to throw a car into a train, and they're like, yeah, we'll do it. You can do that. You can do that CGI. He's like, no, no, no. I want to really do it. And he had to fight them to do that, and it looks great. They throw a car into a train, but I love hearing him talk about that. You don't hear about those things, obviously, but I love that he fought for these things, and the film looks awesome. Uh, I'm loving Andor. Speaking of the Star Wars stuff, I'm loving Andor. Definitely watch that. You're right. Disney has kind. I don't know. I don't know how to feel. I'm okay with Disney. I'm okay with the Disney Marvel thing. Like I get it. I like Disney having Star Wars. I don't like that they took it away from George Lucas. That's a whole other. I mean, that's. I just wish he had gotten to make the things that he wanted to make before he took it away. It's a whole. It's an issue. I don't mind that they have it now. I don't mind that more people can see stuff, but they did kind of ruin it. But Andor's good. Andor so far is looking great. Um, I'm curious to see where they take that. Fast Five is definitely still like the height of all the fast movies. I know we're jumping back and forth, but the lag in the chat. I never. That's probably true. They filmed stuff for that. They filmed like some things for that ride. I haven't done any of the. So like, I'm also We are planning on doing a trip to Universal here in L.A. They have the Hogwarts thing. So I don't know if it's the same. I've been to Disney World once. Um, Obviously not to Disneyland, but went to Florida in high school, and we went to Disney World, and they didn't have the Fast and Furious thing, or obviously the Star Cruiser. I'm interested to go to Disney here and go to Galaxy's Edge. Shannon got to go once. She didn't get to do any of the rides. That Star Cruiser experience, sounds amazing, but guys, that's expensive. You know? It's so expensive. Like, I can't imagine. I guess maybe if you split it with a bunch of people, if you like split a room, God, that's got to be crazy. I like the idea of it. I like the idea of being immersed in a world, but like also, like, I've been to the Ren Fair. That's pretty much the same thing. It doesn't have to be that expensive. Yeah, like, can't like make it get a cheaper thing. Like, I understand like why. I understand like what's all going into it. But there's no reason for it to be that expensive, I can't imagine. But I like that idea of immersive, what you're talking, that immersive experience. By the way, is my audio, if you have two speakers, I don't know if you're on your phone or computer, is it coming out of just one speaker, or is it coming out of both? Because technically it's a mono mic, and I think it's only recording on one channel. But I don't know how to change the audio. Oh, we do want to do the Halloween horn. I have a friend that I just met who's doing like a haunted house at Universal. I think it's the haunted house is by The Weeknd, like the musical artist The Weeknd, and so it's based on his album or whatever. And so my friend, who I just met because we were PAing together, he is playing The Weeknd, or at least a version of that character from the album. He's playing The Weeknd, doing performances and stuff. Fucking crazy. This is a guy who's done cruises and everything. It is coming out of the left channel. Gosh. That's so weird. But I can't fix that. Oh, wait. Is this where I can fix it? Ah. Maybe. There we go. I just fixed it. I literally just fixed it. Found the thing. Who dis? Deadpool. Shannon's still here. Maybe just watching, but not. I don't think, John, do you know about the Alamo Drafthouse? It's like the #1 movie theater in America. Fantastic Fest is happening right now, which is an amazing film festival that happens at the Alamo Drafthouse. I think it's one of my favorite film festivals, Fantastic Fest. um, I got to share. Speaking of Lord of the Rings, I got to. I didn't share it. I got to stand next to Frodo, Elijah Wood, in the smoke pit at Fantastic Fest. I didn't talk to him. I'm not gonna bother him. Oh, Denver does have an Alamo. It's not the same, probably. I forgot because like you're in Florida. I don't think Florida has any of them. The pre-shows are the best. You know, I tried to do editing for the pre-shows. I applied like 3 or 4 times. They didn't. They never hired me. They always had someone else that they wanted to hire, so they released the job opening, but they were never going to hire anyone else. It's annoying. Working the fest was really. Oh, Elijah Wood's short. I mean, he's my height. No, he was shorter. I'm 5'8". He's not. You know, he's obviously not Hobbit size, but he's around my height. He maybe is like a little bit shorter, like a couple inches. So maybe 5'6". Kennedy, did you find me through Instagram? Did you see that I posted on? And I'm just curious. Because this is a test. This was never supposed to be happening. Also, again, for the 4 people, one of them being my girlfriend who's here, and one of them being me. Welcome to the stream, and sorry you're here because now you have to talk to me, and I'm forcing you. Yeah, I mean you could leave, but whatever. Oh, nice. Do you follow me on YouTube? Oh, I didn't meet Sean Astin. He's taller though. Someone look here. Let's look it up. How tall? How tall is Sean? You can find any of that information on Google. Sean Astin height. I'm spelling that wrong, right? Yeah, dude. The Shure MV7. Also, Rode has a mic called the Rode Podcaster. It's also really good. It's $99. I was gonna get a bunch of those. My phone is just not working. I think it's because internet. Let's turn that off. Let's go back to 5G. Sorry, I'm ignoring y'all for a second. Okay, Sean Astin is 5'6". So he's also short. And Elijah Wood is also 5'6". So they're both the same height. So I was right. He was 5'6". And Sean Astin is, so he's not any taller than. Oh, sorry. I created all that static with my phone. Crazy. That also could be like interference. I have 3 monitors and the speakers. Even though my speakers are turned down, so you're not getting any feedback there. And then you got my phone, you got a light, you got my camera. There's probably so much interference. Kennedy, you gotta. I don't. I don't use a PC. I just use a Mac. I am using OBS right now though. And what you need in terms of this kind of stuff, at the very least, you need just like you can get away with like an audio interface, a digital audio interface, which is what I have here. This is probably causing a lot of static. That plugs in through USB. So plug it in through USB. You get your mic. Your mic can also plug in through USB. I haven't had to mess with sound cards in a while, so I don't know how to help you there. OBS takes some getting used to, but it is. There's definitely some videos I think I had to watch just to learn how to do things. But once you understand it, it's pretty easy. Yeah, of course it did. I honestly should probably be like plugged in via USB. I don't need this audio interface. This thing is God, this audio interface. It's a cheap one. It's not a cheap one, but it's a cheaper one. I feel like but the thing is like with audio, everything causes interference. I looked it up. Sometimes nowadays you just can't get away with it. You gotta have like the right cables. I said this earlier. You gotta have the right cables. You gotta make sure like certain things are not plugged into like that's also weird. Like your outlets where things are plugged into, it's the power that causes the interference. That's the thing. So you have to have shielded cables, this whole thing. Any camera, how should I put this? Any camera can link to OBS. Now, the way this camera is hooked up, it's hooked up via HDMI through a thing called the Elgato Cam Link. You might have seen those for like streamers. A lot of people use those. It's like an HDMI adapter that goes into USB. So that creates the camera that the computer can see. Depends on your computer and depends on your camera. Other cameras, you have to download software and you could just plug it in via USB, like the Canon or the Sony. They have their specific software that you can use, and it's like hit or miss. But every camera, usually there's like there's pieces of software out there that will figure it out. I like the HDMI thing because it makes it easier. I don't have to download another piece of software and use that so it can recognize the camera. I just use the Cam Link and then I set that up through OBS. There's other things too that are probably better than OBS. That's just what I've used, you know. In terms of what won't break the bank, can't help you there. It always depends on what your budget is. You can't if you have anything that can connect via HDMI, whether it's a micro or a mini, and most cameras nowadays can do that. You can get a point and shoot camera. You can do this on a webcam. I mean, just do it on a webcam. You don't need an expensive camera. I think is it Logitech? Logitech has like new items just for streamers, including like a camera. And there's also another camera that I saw recently. What was it? Was it Logitech? Where like you stick it on top of your monitor and you can follow you around, and it has a whiteboard mode or whatever, and then like it can isolate. If you put like these little magnetic tags on your whiteboard, it knows if it can see it, it knows where it is, and it'll like move the camera itself and like enlarge itself to be just the whiteboard. And then you like wave your hand and then it can go back to your face. It's a whole thing. And those are cheap-ish. Definitely I wish I could find it. My computer would be too slow. Um, but look up Logitech. Whatever their equipment is, those are usually there's definitely people. Even anything by Elgato. Because Elgato is the big company that does streaming. Like I said, they have those little HDMI USB adapters that you can plug in a camera. That's what some people use for that to capture their gaming software if you're going to game or whatever. So people use that if you don't have a capture card or whatever. And they make a bunch of streaming stuff too. So they probably have a camera. They at least have lights and stuff too. Yeah, man, I got you. Yep. Thanks, John, for joining me. You gave me something to do tonight while I test the stream out. I appreciate all the feedback. Be safe in Florida. Hopefully Tampa doesn't get hit too bad. Hey, we'll do this again. We're gonna do office hours or something, or podcast or whatever. We're gonna figure it out. We'll figure it out together. Maybe I'll do it earlier so it's not so late. Thanks, John. Have a good night. Kennedy, I'm glad to help. Well, definitely, I'll plan the streams. Hit me, and Kennedy, hit me up. You can DM me if you have any more questions. If you don't have any now, you can ask me some questions now. But if you don't have any more questions, and you think of anything, I always say when it comes to equipment, it always depends on your budget. You know, I get people to ask me about what camera should I get for whatever. I mean, it depends on your use, depends on like your budget, and I always have to start with budget because that's the thing, right? How much are you willing to spend? And you can get a camera that works for any purpose at that point. And obviously, the more expensive, the better. People say it doesn't matter what you use. It doesn't matter. They're just tools or whatever. It does matter. The more expensive things are better. They work better. It makes your job a lot easier. That said, there is something you could do with every budget. I wish I could remember what camera that was. I just saw like a review of it. Who did that review? I know I can find him. Was it MKBHD? Or was it Linus? I'm going to look at MKBHD real quick. Pocket Cam. I'm sorry. I don't want to cause interference. I forgot this phone. Can't find it. There's a bunch of them that do move around. You know what it was? I think it was DJI. I remember now. DJI webcam. Because DJI makes their... They have like their little gimbal, right? A little Osmo. That was it. Look up the DJI webcam. It's well, it might not even be DJI. Maybe it's Insta360. Oh, I'm sorry. It's the Insta360 cam. Was it? Now I'm just spinning circles around. Look up the Insta360 cam. That might be it. It's got a little gimbal thing. My computer is like slowing down. If that one has a whiteboard mode, that was the one I was talking about. Anyway, I believe that was it. And even that, something like that, is great. There's definitely options out there, is the point. I'm actually probably looking for a webcam because I need something better than... I mean, this is good. This is a good camera. This is for, like, streaming. But if I need, like, a Zoom call, this becomes overkill. And also the lag, as you can see, there's, like, a 5-second delay, you know? Or more between you and chatting. And that might be... That might be different things. Different settings. Could be my internet. Could be whatever. But taking out this camera and OBS and maybe just having a webcam for Zoom calls and stuff will keep the lag down. My dogs are bored. And they're like, why are you still here? We've been stuck in this office testing out the stream. I was going to do this on Discord. And then I never figured it out. That was the point. I was supposed to try and come on here, figure out how to stream on YouTube, and then get it on the Discord so that I can stream on Discord and YouTube maybe. And honestly, it's real easy because I can just share my screen on Discord. But the problem is that I think the lag would be more noticeable because I would be talking on the mic. That would come through Discord. It wouldn't come through the actual video that I'm streaming. So then you would notice that lag more? I don't know, man. Anyway, yeah. Oh, for sure, dude. I mean, definitely do some more research. There's probably other ones. That's just the most recent one that I remember, and that's definitely like a good one. But I haven't done my research. I always like to compare and contrast everything. Make sure it can work with your system. Make sure you have whatever you need to be able to play. I mean, that one probably will do it. It's probably just USB. Probably works. Are you on PC? Probably. I need a new computer. I'm thinking about upgrading to a Mac Studio. to help, not only with my editing, but to help with this kind of thing, so I can create content more. But I thought about doing PC and building a PC, but both of those are expensive. It depends on how much money I make next month, which probably won't be enough. There you go. Buy it, return it. This mic setup sucks because it's like right in front of my face. I liked it. We had a camera angle earlier, a different camera angle, and I liked it better off to the side. The webcam will probably be better for you with the PC laptop, for sure. I'd be worried about OBS. I mean, I'm dealing with the same thing. I'm on a laptop. But then when you get into OBS, you have to figure out, this is exporting in like 720p. But even then, I had to like turn down the bit rate or whatever just to get this to stream good-ish. Even though it says like recommended is like higher. So I don't even know, man. Like this is the lag here. Look, OBS is telling me I have 0 dropped frames, and I've been live for 2.5 hours. Honestly, I can't believe it. My kilobytes per second is around 2,000. Jumps to like 2,500, but it's jumping around. I don't know what any of that means. Point is, like figuring out the right settings on my laptop. If I were to do anything on my laptop right now, this would start lagging. No, it looks clean, but it would definitely, like my computer can only handle so many things. So, if you're planning on gaming and running a webcam, like an OBS, it could be different. Mileage may vary. Systems can only do so much. Now with PC, it's probably better because you got GPU. I don't have a GPU. Well, I don't have a graphics card. Hey, Nero. Sorry, my dog's chewing at himself. Stop it. Listen, I hate to just run. But I did say I was streaming for 2.5 hours. This was fun, though. This is a success. In a certain way. I had Google Fiber when I was in Austin. I'm in LA now. I don't know if you knew that. And I miss Google Fiber. They have Google Fiber here, but only in certain areas. And I don't have fiber. I have Spectrum. I have great download speeds. Very little upload speeds. Like 40 megabits per second. I'm so annoyed. Google Fiber, I miss it so much. That's why I'm doing this. That's why I said to hit me up on Instagram or something. Find me. Message me. Or Twitter. Or email. I'd put my phone number in chat, but that's probably not safe. Someone will lurk and find this and start spamming me. But yeah, feel free to hit me up on anything else, and I can answer any more questions. But yeah, I miss Google Fiber. Remind me of that. Remind me about the show. Are you coming? Yeah, well, if you're coming. I mean, if not, I'm down to support your wife. Just remind me. And if you're gonna be here, like, hit me up for sure. And then we can grab a beer. Anyway, there's a little bit of a lag, I'm sure. Um, I'll answer whatever's typing away, but for all the people who are finding this later, have a good night. Thanks for joining me. Thank you, Kennedy. Thank you, John. Thank you, Shannon. I'm going to end the stream. This is still going to be up on my YouTube channel. For anyone who ever thought that they were going to find this, no, I mean, listen, I didn't expect to be going for almost 3 hours. I'm kind of glad. Kind of glad I got to talk about stuff. Hey, if you find this and you enjoyed it, great. Maybe it's the first of many. I'm glad you're here, but I'm going to end the stream. And we're gonna. Hey, we'll do this again. Nice chatting. Be safe. Talk to you guys later. Thanks, guys.